This is Motomami by ROSALÍA. This is
Mhm.
16 songs, 42 minutes long, and I'm gonna go ahead and go out and say it. This might be the first like non-English nomination for album of the year I'm gonna give.
It's this fucking incredible album.
It does
Like
like I
I like
yeah.
literally wanted to, I'm gonna go to have. I wonder if I'm gonna go to Vanessa and be like, "Oi, translate for me, please," because I need to know what the
Yeah.
fuck is going on in this. Because whatever it is, I love this so
Oh yeah.
much.
It's beautiful stuff that like even as a Spanish speaker, it's one of those albums where like I wouldn't understand it on the first listen even as a Spanish speaker. There's like so much depth in it. There's a lot of thought that goes into it with the stories that are told in it from the bits of Spanish that I do understand down to the global experimentation within a pop record. Like this is one of those weeks where we review albums that are so good it makes me upset at other artists. Usually, very often, it's rap and trap. Where like very rarely we get a rap or trap album that is so phenomenal. I get angry at the whole genre for sucking and like not performing as well. But like, I mean, I hate most pop music, especially most American pop music. There are a couple exceptions like Charlie XCX, and I think American pop music actually the past 5 years has been better than it has been
Way
over
better
the
has
past
been, yeah.
20. But there's still a lot of blandness. There's a lot of lack of experimentation. But if you just go to the international scene, oh, you've got a bunch of it. Oh, you've got a lot of variety, especially for the American ears. But this is not just variety just for the like, oh, American ears. This is like
It's
variety
already
in
from the
a
Latin
Latin
ears
pop years. Yeah.
because I listened because having a Mexican girlfriend, she shows me Maluma, Bad Bunny, a bunch of others, and I always joke that they make the same beat over and over and over and over again. Even though some of the songs are pretty good, but it's just do for about
Or you
47
slow it.
hours.
Yeah, or you slow
Slow
it, or
down,
you make it faster. It's just, that's pretty much the same. Yeah.
happy C, and then you got stuff like that, and then you got to bring the beat back, and that's all it is over and over again.
Uno, dos,
Rosalia's
tres,
album.
14. By the way, just random side note. Are we so happy that I did not do the Nancy Pelosi U2 story on Audioface? I don't have the heart to do it right
Please,
now.
please,
I
no,
don't have the
no,
heart
we're
to do it.
not. We are
But
not doing
anyways,
the YouTube Bono story. No, no, we're
but
not doing
anyways,
that.
Motomami is like a really confessional, like uh, sensual. We did a very like sensual line of records this episode of Audio Face. All three of the covers are very pornographic, but you have a very like open kind of dialogue from Rosalia in a lot of these songs and these tracks, and not only does it come through in like some of what's being said, but just the production is so varied and different in different places. Not even that many features, like one or two, but really well done. And by the way, the first one with the weekend La Fama, very good. I was I
Well,
love
so
shit.
the Weeknd has done a thing with Maluma too, where his Spanish actually isn't half bad.
Yeah, I'm almost certain there's like a songwriter involved, but like it's overall like he does a very good performance. I was waiting to shit
Mm.
on it. I loves me some shitting on an American artist trying to sing in another language, but looking at you, Diplo. But it is
Mhm.
La Fama is excellent, actually, like unironically excellent. Again, I can't hate the weekend even if I want to. Definitely adding that to our 2022 playlist.
Yeah, I really like that song. I think um, I've really liked the Weeknd when he does collaborations with people. I think every time he's on a track, he just brings it up an extra notch. And like when he did the Hawaii remix with Maluma in 2020, 2019, I forget when. I thought that was actually a really good track. And now La Fama, I was gonna say La Flama, but La Fama. Um, it's actually a really good track. I like it. I really like Rosalia's vocals throughout, and the production throughout every single track in here too is fantastic. Because you'll have like your standard Latin pop song, with Chicken Teriyaki and a couple others, but like they're strategically placed with everything. So it's not like it's gonna get overdone quickly at all, not at all. Um,
You know, like
which it's just it's good.
I was gonna say like the intro song to get to that point of like how it moves through. Like the intro song kind of starts as this kind of banger, but you have this I forget the exact instrument, but it's like one of the keys you can get on like any keyboard and like makes this like sort of like sound trumpet like horn noise. and that almost gives it almost like an electronic music flair. But then you get into Candy, which is like almost like Latin bedroom pop indie, just the way
Hmm.
it's kind of muted and sounds. Almost sounds like certain muted Drake tracks like Blem that kind of try to do that
Yeah.
reggaeton dancehall kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then La Fama with The Weeknd is entirely different. It's got like the flair in a totally different direction and is a largely sort of like almost like salsa dancing song. It's pretty varied just all the way through. And you get through Bularias and Chicken Teriyaki, which are like total pop bangers. Hentai is like a ballad almost singing pretty much.
Mhm.
So much variety through it, and I'll say it's also very well put out because or very well laid out because um I'd say not filler track, but certainly like interlude track, Motomami
Yeah.
in the middle, the title track,
Mhm.
separates the kind of first half, which is very pop friendly, to the second half, which is wildly experimental, but like still pop friendly. That was the part. The second half really stunned me.
Because example, you get Diablo, which is like you get like the really weird Latin TikTok sounds and stuff, which I like to call it for, which actually I don't mind for the placement of this. But then you have the 11th track. I'm not going to try to pronounce it because Vanessa will murder me. And then it's like straight up almost mariachi. And it's
Yeah.
a beautiful, gorgeous track. And it's like, where the hell is this coming from? The second half of this record, it's so eclectic, but I love it because it keeps you on your toes. Also, her voice is incredible.
Her voice is incredible, and she gets a lot of different musical influences. She's classically, like, pretty classically trained in the history of music, especially a lot of like the Roma tradition of music in Spain.
Mm,
Sort of previously pejoratively known as like gypsies, but that sort of culture and their music has a lot of like, influences in here. Not just with like being sort of like experimental pop and like alternative reggaeton kind of thing, but there's so much of those little bits of that subgenre of like Roma, like Latin music that is it makes its way in little parts here and there through the production here. Post production Dan here, and some of the brainworms are gone. I'm referring to flamenco music. It's an entire genre of musical traditions from southern Spain, and it is something that ROSALÍA spent a lot of time studying as a musician, even way before this album came out. And it's like a really good team of producers here. I think definitely understood the assignment when it came to making this record both cohesive but also multiple genre spanning across the world, really. Which like very, I want this from all music all the time, but very rarely do I actually get it. And so I'm just very happy, like very satisfied.
yeah, I like it because it's cohesive in a way where it kind of flows together. It's extremely eclectic. It's very experimental for it, and for Latin pop stars, they like for someone to bring this out is great. It pushes it forward. It pushes more and more artists to experiment and try new stuff, which I'm always here for. That's why we have this damn podcast. But yeah, it's a fantastic record. I was genuinely surprised by it. I was expecting to like things here or there, but as a whole project kind of may think meh. But no, it's very, very good. The features do their part. They even raise it up a notch too. The production is fantastic. I love there's those two separate halves of the record, but not one pulls too much from the other as well. It's not top heavy nor bottom heavy. They're two very different halves to the record, but they make the record whole. Because if you just have one half and make it an EP, it's going to be bland. But the two halves together for a full EP, it's brilliant. It's very, very good.
And it's like 43 minutes. It's
Yeah,
does so much. And I think that's a perfect amount of time for an album. Not too much, not too little. That's the Goldilocks just
exactly.
right zone.
Yes,
I
that
Yeah,
is. Yep.
I am going to be banging this very loudly in my high profile electric vehicle, and will be making many a friends along this beautiful city, just being ratchet with this music. This is like very like I will be playing this so much on my own volition, not just like for listening to the podcast and not just like for flexing my like 20% Spanish knowledge. Just like this is such a good piece of music. Yeah, it is one of those like, hey, other pop artists, where you at? What are you doing
Yeah.
here? Like what?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if this is like our place to say, but maybe it kind of puts like artists like J Balvin on the spot a little bit, like, or Bad Bunny, who are
Yeah.
like they're pretty good and they're like varied, especially compared to American pop artists. But like once again, you like bring like really talented, really smart thinking like women into the music space, and you're just light years away from the game. it's it's just incredible. And so shout out to Rosalia for creating this phenomenal record that I'm going to be listening to hundreds of times more. Now, to botch that with the arbitrary scale that we do every week on Audioface, because our review is our review. What we said in it makes sense. What doesn't make sense is adding some type of arbitrary ranking system like a letter grade or a number to that score. What also doesn't make sense is our arbitrary scale that we change every single week. This week it's things Tim Pool learned recently. And I'm going to say this is Tim Pool learning that willingly gay, public-facing Republican Dave Rubin is gay. It's like every
My
Republican
favorite
realized
thing
that.
ever of whoever this black conservative guy, maybe about 3-4 years ago, goes, Dave Rubin is gay? What? No.
Thank you for reminding me that I need to include that in
Yeah. I
yeah.
don't know who said that, but whenever that happened, I like hyperventilated. Like I almost called 911. I was like, I need air. I need an oxygen mask. Like, this is too much for me. This is hilarious. But
Um
this is Tim Pool realizing that the reason why he's single, doesn't have a family, is it's him and not the woman.
uh definitely not me though.
Definitely not me
Certainly
though.
them. It's definitely them.
It's them, and not
Um
me though.